Hello, and welcome to MrDudeManSir. And today, I am going to be reviewing the first, I think, 33 cards of the new Hearthstone expansion. I haven't done any of the cards so far, so I'm just gonna hit them all at once, and hopefully it will not be that long of a video. Okay, so, first card. I'm going, in order, on this one website, and, Cthulhu will be last. So that's gonna be a thing. But first we have Doom. Destroy all minions and draw a card for each. It's 10 mana. Basically, it's Twisting Nether. You paid 2 extra mana, and you draw a card for each minion killed. I tried to think of a scenario where this card would be actually good, but it's obviously bad. Like, if their opponent has, like, a significant amount of minions on the board, like, say, he has a full board, and you have, like, if you don't have any minions, he has a full board, you play this card, you will draw 7 cards. Not to mention that Warlocks already are closer to fatigue than any other class because of their hero power. This card will make them draw 7 more, probably overdraw, and it's just bad. You'd most likely want to play a Twisting Nether in that situation, and Twisting Nether has never been played outside of Reno. So this card is obviously never going to be played. I don't think this will ever be touched. In Arena, this will be pretty amazing. Well, will it be amazing? Probably not. It'll probably be average, above average, because it draws you the cards and clears the entire board. It'll be sort of like a Deathwing, but Warlock exclusive and an epic, so no one will ever pick it, other than like 1 in 10 decks. This card is bad though. Let's move on. Giant Sandworm for Hunters. This is an 8 mana 8/8. It's standard stats for a big minion, and whenever it kills another minion, it may attack again. So basically, you can clear the board if you give some sort of immunity with one of those, like Stable Master, or that one thing, and then hit him in the face. Will Control Hunter be a thing? And if Mid-Range Hunter is a thing, which it probably will be, will they play this Giant Sandworm? Probably not, but maybe a one-of, just for a big late-game push or something. I don't know. But this card will obviously see play with things like Infest, which I'll later get onto, and Ball of Spiders, if people decide to play Ball of Spiders. This card is just generic. It's not really that good, but maybe it'll see play. And Arena, this is actually a pretty good card. I think it'll be like a top tier pick epic in Arena. Tentacles for Arms. Warrior 2/2 weapon. Costs 5 mana. And Deathrattle, return this to your hand. So basically, it's a worse Fiery War Axe. It's sort of like mana and a half worth of value if you take it as like a little bit slightly below a Fiery War Axe. So 3.5 mana to return this thing to your hand. That's really bad. The only time I think this card will be played is if there are other weapon buffs that are introduced. The current weapon buffs are like that 3 mana 3/3 with Inspire, which I do not think will be played in a warrior deck because it's just way too niche, and you'd have to continually buff this thing like every turn or every time you play it because it only has 2 charges. It's really bad. Will this weapon see play? The only thing I see redeeming about this card is the fact that you can get some semblance of value off of Tentacles for Arms. And then when the Deathrattle returns it to your hand, it can be turned into a random legendary with the Golden Monkey. That's the only redeeming value I see. Maybe it'll be a one-of, maybe it will do something. I don't see anything with this, and I don't think it will ever see play. Gorehowl is much better than Tentacles for Arms. Stand Against Darkness. Summon 5/1 1/7 recruits. Basically a 5 mana muster for battle without the weapon. I like this card. I think it's pretty good. It's not amazing. It's just pretty good. If there's a bunch of like say Zoo decks, this one card will unless they have Knife Juggler, which possibly is getting nerfed, but we don't know. This one card will hopefully stand against a bunch of 1 health, say aggro minions or something like that. And also, well, maybe we'll get more buffs, like that 3 mana 2/4 thing that buffs your 1/1s by 1 attack. Maybe that will be played with a combo of this. I don't know, I think it's just a standard card. It's pretty good. It'll probably be played of a 1-of, maybe a 2-of. It's pretty good. In Arena, this card will probably be a high pick. I like it. It'll be sort of around the value. It'll be slightly lower value than Muster for Battle, but it's still pretty good. It will be broken in Arena if you have cards that synergize with Silverhand Recruit, such as that 3-mana 2/4 I just talked about, and maybe even Raid Leader. If you have any way of buffing these Silverhand Recruits, this card will be amazing. In a top deck war situation, say you top deck this, and they top deck like a 2-drop, you can trade 2 1/1s in, and then still hit them for 3 in the face, or stuff like that. Like if you play this, and he plays a 5-drop with 4 health or something, you can trade 4 1/1s in, and you still have another 1/1. So basically, it trades very well, because you can determine exactly how much damage you need to use. Though the only downside is AoE, of course. Playing 5-drop to get killed by, like, an Arcane Explosion. Now that's anti-value. Corrupted Healbot. This was one of the first cards that were ever revealed. It's a 6/6 for 5 mana, which means it gains 1 stat. It is a mech, which means there's going to be a total of 5 mechs in Standard now. The Deathrattle is restore 8 health to the enemy hero. So, for gaining 1 stat point and the mech tag, you restore 8 health to the enemy hero. Is that going to be worth it? Absolutely not. In Priest, maybe it'll be a thing, though the thing about Zombie Chow is that you could combo a Circle of Healing and immediately kill your Zombie Chow. This thing, you need to play it on the board, and if your opponent kills it, then not only do you get 8 damage away from gaining lethal, but you also do not get your combo off. This card is very situational, very bad, and it will probably never work in a combo deck. In Arena, it's still pretty bad, because by the time you get to turn 5, the reason Zombie Chow is pretty good is that it's 1-drop, the opponent's probably at full health anyways, you trade for a 2-drop. That's really good tempo. This card, however, it may kill like a pit fighter, but it will die to any 1 damage, which is very common in Arena. And then you restore 8 health to the enemy hero, which is very significant, especially because we're playing a tempo game in Arena currently. So I think this card will only ever see play in a Priest. It's bad in Priest, so I don't think it will ever see play. Cult Apothecary. For each enemy minion, you restore 2 health to your hero. Basically, it's an anti-aggro card. I like these sort of cards, because if you look at the stat line, it's like, this is bad for 5 mana. But then you also see the effect and be like, man, this card is broken because it restores blah blah amount of health. Well, both situations are true, because the health is very important against an aggro deck, and the stat line is pretty bad. But the thing about cards like these is because they're designed to be bad in a bad scenario. Like, if you're playing against a control deck, this card's going to be completely trash. It's going to be a 5-mana 4/4, maybe restore 2 health to your hero. Against an aggro deck, however, it could possibly be like restore 10 health to your hero for a 4/4, which is a significantly better heal bot, which is great. What I see in this card is that if people ever get aggro again, sort of like what we're currently in, the meta we're currently in Hearthstone, people will play 1 or maybe even 2 of this card, counter the aggro deck such as Zoo or maybe even Hunter, and then they will stop playing Zoo and Hunter and play a different deck, such as Control. And then whenever Control becomes popular, you play aggro again, and then you kill the Control decks, and then, or something, and like the cycle of the meta will continually change forever. Which is why I like this card. So the meta won't get stagnant. You'll always be able to counter a certain deck with a certain card, and never stay with the same decks forever, such as Druid and Paladin. So this card's great. It will see play at least 1 point in Hearthstone, and I hope it will see it multiple times, because if it doesn't see play, the meta in Hearthstone will stay the same and stagnant, and this card will be terrible. A validated Doomsayer. It's the Doomsayer realized that the world is actually doomed, and now he's validated. So now he's a 5-drop, a 0/7 still, but if it survives to the next turn, its attack is set to 0. I mean, it's attack set to 7, which is great. 5 mana 7/7. It's 3 stats above the usual 5-drop, which is pretty good. In Arena, this card is going to be pretty good just on that, if you have board control. If you do not have board control, it will die for free, and you will be sad and probably cry yourself to sleep every night knowing that Doomsayer is dead for free. So that's the predicament. In Constructed, people, well, it depends. If you're playing a zoo deck, maybe this will be like a one-of, because it's actually pretty good if you have board control, because it's a 5-mana 7/7 that cannot be, destatted, such as like Humility or set down the 1 attack, because it just refreshes the attack back to 7 the next turn. I want to see that in Arena, someone play Aldor Peacekeeper on this card and then be set back to 7 attack. That would be amazing. Will this card be played? In Arena, it will probably be better than most other epics, since epics are actually pretty bad. If you're playing a zoo deck, if you're playing control, maybe if you have a bunch of spell removal and you could protect this, it'll be pretty good. Just average in Arena, I guess. In Constructed, it may see play in a zoo deck. That's about it. Eater of Secrets. 4-mana 2/4, terrible stat line. What's its effect? It destroys all enemy secrets and gains +1/+1 for each. Basically, if Secret Paladin somehow manages to survive after this, this card will make it so they don't survive. You just play 1 or 2 of these whenever Secret Paladin comes around, and you have like a 5/9, or like a 5/7 for stealing like 3 secrets, or if it's more, you just get even bigger. This card is going to be counter to secrets. It's really good because I really, really hate Freeze Mage. I hope Freeze Mage gets nerfed the freak out of, because I really do not like Freeze Mage. And this card will possibly see play if Freeze Mage and Paladin is somehow a thing. Other than that, this card is completely terrible in Arena. And if Mage and Paladin is not being played, this card will also be terrible in a Constructed. It's very niche. Again, another one of those cards that just keeps the meta cycling. If it gets into the situation where it's stagnant, hopefully it will work well. That's all I have to say. Faceless Shambler. The Faceless Manipulator for 1 less mana, and it has Taunt. But instead of copying the minion itself, it copies the stat line. So for 1 less mana, you copy a stat instead of the effect, and you gain Taunt. Is it better than, like, saying copying Ragnaros? Would you rather have an 8/8 Taunt to protect your Ragnaros, or would you rather have 2 Ragnaroses? You'd probably rather have 2 Ragnaroses. I mean, I would. The real potential is when you have Molten Giant, and you play it for 0, and then you Faceless Shambler it, and then you have an 8/8 with Taunt, and the Molten Giant. It's pretty good. You don't even need the Defender of Argus or Sunfury Protector it. It's very situational, though. Will it see play in, like, a handlock? Probably not. They'll probably won't replace the Defender of Argus, though it may. It may be a 1-of. It probably won't be a 2-of. In Arena, this card is probably, like, epics are really bad in Arena. This will probably be average, or maybe slightly below average, because it requires you to have board control on turn 4 if you are going to play it on curve, which probably isn't going to happen. And if you do play this on turn 4, you're going to copy a 3-drop, which isn't that good either. And if you copy like a 5/4, you basically just get a Booty Bay Bodyguard, or the other thing I don't remember the name of. Basically get that, an Evil Heckler. Is it that good? No, it's not. So it will be below average in Arena, I'd say. Infested Tauren, the piloted shredder of commons, and very bad. Basically, if they made this a 3/3 that with the same effect, the summon a 2/2 slime, it would probably be played in every single deck because of the fact that piloted shredder only has 1 more stat and probably has the same Deathrattle. So they made it a 2/3 that summons a 2/2, which is pretty bad. It may be played in the zoo deck again if for some reason they feel required to play this card, but it probably won't see play in any other deck at all. It's just an average common card. That's about it. That's all it is. In Arena, this card will be average, I'd say. Nowhere near as good as Piloted Shredder, because the Piloted Shredder kills this and the 2/2 slime, and then has another 2-drop afterwards. But say if it had 1 extra attack, Infested Tauren will probably be played in every single zoo deck or aggro deck, because of the fact that it resembles Piloted Treader a lot, which is good, because I really hate the fact that Piloted Treader is so common in basically every single deck. Control, aggro, mid-range, Piloted Treader fits there. This card will only fit in a zoo deck if it does fit there. Polluted Hoarder. A 4/2 draws a card. It's basically a bigger loot hoarder, because it's a polluted one. Costs 2 extra mana, you get 3 stats, same effect. Will let's see play over Loot Hoarder, or maybe you play both of them in the same deck. I think it's pretty good. It kills a 4-drop, generally, if it's on an open board, and draws a card. So maybe they'll play it in like cycle rogue decks, because rogue decks can generally like play backstab or like deadly poison, and effectively clear the enemy's board before playing Polluted Hoarder. And then it will trade 4 attack, or even hit them in the face for 4, and then whenever they decide to kill it, it will draw a card, which is pretty good. Especially with another legendary old god I'm going to talk about, which will resummon this. Will it see play? Probably. It'll probably see play. With an aggro, deathrattle, attrition rogue thing that seems to be coming around. I think it'll see play as 1 of, maybe a 2 of in that type of deck. And anything else, probably won't see play though. Maybe in like Freeze Mage if they're actually still around. I hope they get nerfed so badly. Or any other deck that really wants to get a combo. Maybe they'll play it in Patron Warrior, because Patron Warrior is generally aggressive, and 4 attack is very aggressive as well. In the Arena, this card's really good. It's a common, it has 4 attack, can trade higher, and draws a card. Sort of like a Gnomish Inventor, but with the Deathrattle and a more aggressive stat line. It's pretty good. Infest. 3 mana hunter spell that gives any minion on the board the Web Spinner effect. The Web Spinner effect is generally like drawing a card, because you can draw any beast, and beasts range from completely terrible to really good. This card I feel will see play at least of a 1 of, because of Unleash the Hounds existing. Your opponent will be like, I can't play any minions, because if I do, he'll Unleash the Hounds, infest me, and then we have a full hand, and we're back to the starting board again. Because the whole way to kill hunters is to let them run out of cards, and then you just, kill them. With this card, it allows them to never actually be out of the game. Whenever they run out of cards, they're like, gosh darn it, I'm out of cards, I'm gonna lose. But now, they could play Unleash the Hounds and infest, and fill their hand with random beasts, and then be ready to attrition again. I like this design, because currently, whenever a deck... The decks are so, refined and aggressive that whenever they run out of cards, they're like, well, I am screwed. I can no longer win. And with the game going more control-oriented currently, whenever that moment happens for the opponent being out of cards, they will probably concede because they have absolutely no way to win. And that basically means aggro decks will go away, because control decks will just completely annihilate them. And mid-range will have to be more value-oriented. This card works in both aggro and mid-range. I feel I'll possibly try out playing this card in a Face Hunter. Could just imagine that. I will play Unleash the Hounds and infest, and maybe just have like Leopard Gnomes and Morgan Infiltrators on the board and infest them. And then I'll have a full hand again, as a Face Hunter, trying to kill my opponent, and I have a gigantic hand of beasts. I think that would be really good. And the similar case goes for mid-range. The same idea. You'll never run out of cards. You'll still be able to put out threats every turn, either multiple threats at once, or maybe even just a gigantic beast. This card will see play at least of a 1 of, and maybe even in face and mid-range decks. It's that good. I like it. In Arena, it's gonna be average, because you need board control before you play it. It depends on how many Unleash the Hounds you have, how many token minions you have, or just how aggressive your deck is. If you're really aggressive and you plan to get board control within the first 3-4 turns, Infest will be really good in your deck. You're going to have to be the judge of that, though. Renounce Darkness. It's a Warlock spell for 2 mana that basically makes you another class. And every card that you have that changes from your own Warlock class cards. Cost 1 less, so 7 mana Tyrion, if that's a thing, or like 7 mana Alakir, which is pretty good. Will this card actually see play though? What it does is, in the late game, whenever you don't use your hero power anymore, you replace your cards and your hero power. If you become a paladin, you'll start being able to put 1/1s on the board when instead of doing nothing with your hero power. And paladin cards are pretty good. Though there's rogue, which rogues will actually be really bad, generally, because a lot of them are combo-y cards, and without having specific cards to work with them that you actually put in your deck intentionally, that one cost less probably won't affect the fact that your hand is very low cost and bad. It depends on the other rogue class cards that come out though, but so far they're all very low cost and very attrition-y and very synergistic off of each other. This card will not see play if that's the case. It depends on how many good classes to bad classes there are. So good classes, Paladin, probably Priest. Priest is pretty good because they have big minions, though a lot of them like Circle of Healing and maybe Light of the Naru are pretty bad. Shamans may be good because they have a lot of value-oriented thing. Like, could you just imagine getting a full hand of 5 mana fire elementals? Be pretty good. Druid is probably one of the best, other than Paladin, because you can get so many. This powerful card, getting Cenarius. The Rogue, Mage would be pretty good. So basically, Rogue's really bad. The other classes are pretty good in general. Will it see play though? Warlock class cards are pretty good, I guess, and especially in Handlock is where you want to play this, not in Zoo decks, because Zoo decks will be out of cards by the time you play this card anyways. I don't think it will see play. I don't think it will, because Handlock generally doesn't even play that many class cards, right? They play like Imp Gang Boss, maybe. They mostly rely on Twilight Drakes, Defender Vargas, Molten Giant, Mountain Giant. They won't be playing Mal'Ganis anymore. They'll be playing Jaraxxus. So basically, they'll change like maybe a third of their deck and the random class cards that cost 1 less. For 2 mana and a card slot. It sounds pretty bad to me. Though it depends. I guess we'll have to see. It's really hard to value a card like this. In Arena, this card will probably be... It depends on how many class cards you have, but probably pretty good, I'd say. The fact that your cards will cost 1 less if you get this in the early game would be insane, because it's sort of like Mistcaller. If you get it on like turn 6 and your opponent like has no board, you just start steamrolling out of control with that +1/+1 value. Sort of like this. In Arena is very tempo oriented. You'll be able to play your entire hand. And yeah, value. Plus, your hero power hurts you a lot in Arena, and you'll die very fast. No longer with this card. Though it's an epic, it probably won't be picked very often. Undercity Huckster. 2 mana 2/2, so it's like a Dark Peddler stats, and its Death Rattle is half a Burgle. So it's a mana and a half Death Rattle. It's basically a card draw. And if you take half a Burgle, it's mana and a half. So 2 mana 2/2, gain a card. It's sort of like half mana 2/2. And it adds cards to this card is broken. I like it. I love it a lot. Man, could you just imagine playing this on turn 2 and then playing your Unearthed Raptor on it, and basically you get a full Burgle for basically losing no stats? Man, Attrition Rogue, here we come. In Arena, this card is also very broken. You would pick this basically every single time. It's probably as good as Dark Peddler. Maybe a little bit less than Dark Peddler. Plus, it's a rare, so you won't see it as much. But this card is broken. You'll probably pick it every single time you see it. It's great. So now we get into the forbidden cards. There's 3 of them. Mage, Paladin, and Priest cards. And they all revolve around the fact that you spend all of your left over mana and do an effect spending depending on how much mana you spent. So this one is Forbidden Flame. You spend your mana and deal that much to a minion. So basically, if you spend your entire turn casting this spell on turn 10, you will deal 10 damage to a minion. And that is it. That's it. That's it. basically 10 damage will kill anything. 8 damage will kill anything. And you know what does 8 damage and costs half as much? Flame Lance. And Flame Lance is not played. So if you're going to like hover over your deck list and go like, I should play Forbidden Flame, you should be like, no, I'm gonna play Flame Lance instead. Oh, but wait, Flame Lance is terrible. Let's just play like Fireball or something. This card, the only time this card will ever see play is in a Reno deck. This card is completely terrible otherwise, in my opinion. I do not think this card will ever see play outside of Reno. You would play Flame Lance before you played this card. You would play Ice Lance, the combo with Frostbolt, before you played this card, probably. I don't know. I don't see... Like, if you made this card spend all your mana deal twice that much to a minion, that would be insane. Because it would just basically be like 2 mana deal 4 damage and 3 mana deal 6 damage and stuff. It will be insane value. But I'm not even sure if that's that bad because of the fact that it can only target a minion. I don't know. I don't think this card will see play because of the fact that it can only target a minion and it does so little damage. That's my thing. In Arena, this will probably be a very low pick. It will probably be average, I guess, because it's sort of like a hard removal, but it's not a very good hard removal. You'll probably pick other epics over this the majority of the time. Forbidden Shaping. Basically, it's spend all your leftover mana, and you summon a minion. That cost. Ideally, you'd want to spend 8 mana, or at least that's what I thought whenever you first, when this card was first revealed, because since then, I will get to a legendary card after I'm done doing these forbidden cards. There's another 8 mana legendary card that is completely terrible, the worst legendary in the game, probably worse than Hemet. No, it's not worse than Hemet, but it's one of the worst cards in the game, worst legendaries in the game. And this card can summon that on 8 mana now. Before, you would be able to summon like so many good cards, like freaking Ragnaros or just any other 8 mana card. 9 mana, you basically play it for the stats. You get 8 8s the majority of the time, 9 7s, 4 12s, like Ysera. That's what you really want. Though this card has a lot of RNG to it. It's not really that good in that sense. Though if it did actually, if that one legendary never came out, this card will be played because you can heal yourself and then play Forbidden Shaping and get a random 8-drop. Yeah. I mean, this may play as a one-of in a priest deck because of the fact that, well, I'm talking of big minions, but you may want to play this on turn 2 because of the fact that priests do not have very good 2-drops. There's always the fact that you get like a 1/1 2-drop. There's just really bad RNG to this card. I don't like it. I think it will not see play. In Arena, this card is also pretty bad, though maybe if you like top deck this, you play it for 10 mana, you summon Deathwing. That's pretty good. 12/12 stats. Yeah, that's the only time I see it play. That's about it, though. It's not very good. In Arena, it's a little bit average. Maybe above average because of the fact that you can get a big minion or a little minion with it. Now here's the actually good forbidden card. You spend all your mana and you heal for double the mana you spent. So if you spend your entire turn playing this card, you'll heal for 20. 2/3 of your entire health pull, one card. Healed and here we come. I can see a card with also the new legendary that came out that looks fake. I'll get to that. I'll get to all the legendaries after this card, actually. Forbidden Healing will probably be played in a 1-of or maybe even a 2-of. In control matchups, however, it's not really that good because of the fact that you don't really need healing. But maybe a 1-of in basically all circumstances is great because healing for 20 is so substantial. So substantial. Against like a face hunter, you play this card once. It's sort of like a healing wave. You're just out of it. Out of the game. It's great. I like it. In Arena, this card will be probably terrible because of the fact that healing is never really needed. But it depends. If you're playing against a bunch of rogues, which is a bad matchup for Paladin, maybe this card will give you that extra consistency against aggro rogue that you need. I like it. It will probably be played as a 1-of. If everything's aggressive, it will be a 2-of. Maybe just a 2-of in general if you're playing like a healed and just for the funsies. Play this with like lay on hands. It'll be pretty fun. I like it. Let's move on. So now we're moving on to the legendary cards. Ragnaros Lightlord. It's Ragnaros, apparently instead of making him even more corrupted than he already was, they decided to make him fight against the darkness. And now he is a Light Lord. And instead of dealing 8 damage randomly, it can now restore 8 health to a damage-friendly character, which is much easier to determine than doing 8 damage randomly. Because if you only play Ragnaros, and he's the only thing on the board, it will heal your face for 8 health, and it's the only target. If, say, you play actual Ragnaros, and you have a minion you want to kill, there's always going to be 2 targets. Always. It's always going to be able to hit face, which is bad. Ragnaros Light Lord, you can, well, if you want to heal a minion, that's going to be pretty bad. But, I mean, restoring 8 health to your face is always going to be good. Always. If you're damaged 8 health or lower, then this card's going to be great. It's going to be great. I think it will be played in basically every single control paladin. And also to mention that this card can actually attack. So, you can attack with Ragnaros Light Lord, and then it'll heal itself back up. Just for free. Just bam! 8-8 yet again. And with hard removal going away, hopefully BGH, as I heard, is being confirmed nerfed. And even a silence wouldn't really be that good. Well, it would be amazing, but it will still be an 8-8 body. This card is going to be played in possibly just mid-range to control paladin. It's going to be great. This card looks fake, though. When I first saw this card, I was like, is this fan-made? This looks fan-made. And then Ben Brode himself said that this card is real. Which is great. Yeah. We'll probably see play. Healadins are gonna be a thing. I think that's what they're trying to push. They're trying to push Paladin as a control heal deck. Stand against darkness just to, like, kill off the early granular minions. And then heal in the late game. It's gonna be a good card. Oh, and in Arena, this card's also gonna be really good. It's not gonna be as good as Ragnaros, the Fire Lord, probably. But if you have this card as a pick, it's gonna be very high pick. Health is very, very valuable in Arena because everything's so aggressive. An 8-8 body that probably isn't going to be dealt with without lots of value lost from your opponent. And if they don't deal with it, you're going to get so much value out of this healing. This card's going to be a very high pick. Not as high as Tyrion, but very high. And now we have that completely terrible legendary that I was talking about before. This card is 8 mana, which completely annihilates the fact of that forbidden card for priests. Because now they could also summon that other Ragnaros card, the Light Lord, which is great. But this card can now be summoned. And if you look at the stats, it's a Boulder Fist Ogre. And if you have to initiate the attack into a minion and you kill it, you have to kill it and you have to initiate the attack yourself. Like if your opponent tries to attack into it, it will not buff stats. But if you attack into another minion, you get an 8/9. Which is generic stats for an 8-drop, because, you know, that's, if you had a generic common 8-drop with value stats, sort of like a Yeti, it would be an 8/9. So, if you initiate the attack, and your opponent does not kill it by attacking into it multiple times, or just once with one of his 7 attack minions, you get a generic stat minion. And if you attack again, you get above average statted minion. But then by that point, you'll probably take a lot of damage where the Boogeymonster will be very easy to kill from your opponent. This card will never see play. In Arena, this card is completely terrible as well, probably. It will be very below average legendary. Though if you have to, over like Nat Pagle and Lore Walker Cho, you'd pick Boogeymonster. This card is bad. Apparently every expansion needs a very bad legendary, and this is that one. Herald Volage. It's a priest 6 mana 5/5 legendary. Now, it's a 6 mana 5/5 legendary, which means it needs to have a very good effect because the mana loss there. And what it does is very powerful. It summons a 1/1 copy of each of the other minions. So basically, you can summon another Sylvanas, or like a Ragnaros, a 1/1 mini Ragnaros, 1/1 mini Sylvanas, This card seems pretty good. Could you just imagine getting like a Confessor, play Confessor, and for some reason it lives, and you Herald Village the Confessor and then heal the same turn, and you have like an entire board of 2 Confessors, Herald Village, 2 random legendaries, another random legendary you get off of the 2 like thing. Basically, this thing will steamroll out of control if you do not deal with the Confessor Palatrus the turn it's played. Though will this card see play? Otherwise, it's fine. It doesn't really work very well in my opinion. I don't see how this card can be played very well, other than those certain circumstances. Priests already have certain cards that already need to have certain requirements met before being played, such as Akanai and Circle, or Circle of Healing with the very good board with like Pyromancer and Northshire Clerics to draw a bunch. Those cards take a lot, but whenever they come together, you know, they're pretty good. This card is similar, which fits that, you know, criteria, I guess. So it's bad because it's another card that takes a lot of preparation with, I guess, good value. But I mean, I don't know. It seems average to me. I'm not sure if it would even see play in Constructed. I don't know. To me, it just seems very bad. I guess if you get 2 minions with this, you get 6 mana 7/7, and you get the effects off the minions you copied. But like, what minions would you want to copy anymore? Like, Dark Cultists are gone. You'd want to copy Confessor, but would you even play Ragnaros in Priest deck? Would you play Ysera? Well, probably. That's a card you want to get copied. So far we have Sylvanas, we have Ysera, and we have Confessor, all of which you cannot play the same turn you play Herald Village, which means they need to survive a turn. I don't know. This card seems very situational. Maybe it'll see play. In my opinion, it's just way too situational. In Arena, it'll probably be a little bit above average because of the fact that you get the stats, and maybe you'll get a Deathrattle minion just sucked in there with it. And also in Arena, there's Dark Cultists. That's a thing. Other than that, I don't know. This card's hard to determine the goodness of. Let's continue. Halaziel the Ascended. A Shaman legendary card. It's a 5 mana 4/6, which is generic stat lines. And whenever you spell deals damage, restore that much health to your hero. Ideally, the only scenario where this card would be very good is if you Lightning Storm, or, you know, the Elemental Destruction. That's pretty good, because if you Lightning Bolt something, I mean, all it does is restore 3 health to your hero. If you Lava Burst, you deal 5 damage and you restore 5 health to your hero. I mean, that's good, but I mean, it's just average. So basically, the only time you would ever want to play this card is with AoEs. And would you even want to play it with Elemental Destruction? Sure, it heals you to full, but you basically sacrifice 2 cards to hopefully clear the opponent's board, and you have like a 4-2 to 4-1. I mean, that uses 2 cards to basically heal to full, and you're overloaded the next turn. I don't know, this card looks good because of the fact that Shamans are really bad right now, and Control Shamans aren't really a thing, so if Control Shamans don't become a thing, this card will not be played. In mid-range, this card will also not be played, because of the fact that they probably want to kill the opponent before they need the heal. This card will probably be very bad. I'm going to say that. I don't know. I'm very pessimistic about this card. It looks very generic. You never want to play a single target spell with this because of the fact that the value is very bad. And if you're going to, say, play this and a single target spell, you sacrifice the fact that you can combo it with an AoE later. So you just wouldn't want to play a single target spell with this because of the minuscule effects that it has. And Shamans already lack card draw, so using like 2 cards to clear the board and restore health doesn't really matter because of the fact that if your opponent has more cards than you, you're just going to lose anyways from the attrition war. And hopefully, if Shamans get a draw card or more big minions, this card will maybe see play. But right now, this card is very bad. In Arena, this card will probably be average legendary. If you have an AoE, it'll be a little bit above average. If you have a direct damage spell, it'll be slightly above average. Just very slightly. This card will just be played over the really bad legendaries, is what I'm saying. And Shaman, it won't see play unless Control Shaman's played. It's not even that good in that scenario. I don't know. I feel that Shamans need much more love in this card, and they did not get it. I don't like it very much at all. Now we have Zeril, the Poisoned Mind. It's a 4-mana 3/2, so the effect better be around 2 mana worth of stuff, and it is! Battlecry and Deathrattle, add a random Toxin card to your hand. You may be asking, what is a Toxin card? Well, there's 5 of them. It's similar to Spare Parts. One of them is a Shadow Step for 1 mana. One of them is basically a Blessing of Might. It is Blessing of Might. One of them is the Stealth Spare Part, but you may be asking, like, the other ones have such good value compared to the Spare Parts, and this one is a Spare Part. That's because Stealth is very broken. Especially in Rogue. Could you just imagine, like, getting... What would it be? Like, perma-stealth? Could you just imagine getting Gadgets and Auctioneer perma-stealthed? Or, like, could you just imagine, like, Conceal for getting off the Battlecry or Deathrattle of this minion? That would just be broken. This card is fine the way it is. You'll probably be fine and happy with getting a Fade Leaf Toxin that gives stealth to your minion. One of them is a Holy Smite, and one of them draws a card, which is great. I think each of these, in their own state, are a card. Warranted a card right now. So basically, it's a 4-mana 3/2. Battlecry and Deathrattle, draw a card. That's a great card right there. I like it. It's going to add more of a attrition Deathrattle rogue sort of thing. More targets for the Unearthed Raptor. It adds more value. Even though slight, you can trade upwards, or you can even rewind this card, get more value off the Battlecry. You could deal 2 damage to something that you need to do 2 damage to, or you just draw a card. I like this card a lot, actually, and also with the other legendary that's coming up, this card has a really big combo with it. I like it. I think this card will definitely be played, especially because Rogues will be playing the Deathrattle scenario currently. More attrition, and this card fits that perfectly. I like it. I really want to get this card when I open packs. So now we're going to move on to N'Zoth. Right here we have N'Zoth's First Mate, a warrior 1/1 for 1 mana, and it equips a 1/3 Rusty Hook. So basically it's a 1 mana 1/1 play upgrade with no weapon. That's pretty good, I guess. It will trade for a 2-drop in Arena, which is pretty good. And Constructed, you probably want to play Fiery War Axe the next turn. So getting a 1/3 Rusty Hook probably isn't very good. Will Pirate Warrior be a thing? Not really. It will probably continue not to be a thing. So I say this card will not be played in Constructed. Unless, for some reason, Face Warrior comes around, in which case you'd play this turn 1, and like coin an upgrade, and then you have 8 damage for 2 mana, turn 1, with a weapon. And then maybe you could follow it up with other pirates, such as like the Blood Sail thing, and a bunch of other things that synergize with weapons. That's the only time I see this card very good. In Arena, though, this is amazing. This card would be very, very good. Tentacle of N'Zoth. It's basically a 1 less mana sheep that whirlwinds when it dies. Yeah. That's about it. It's very generic. I'm not sure if this will be played. Obviously, this card apparently wants to be played with N'Zoth, because it's sort of in the name. And it'll make sense when I tell you what N'Zoth is, that this card exists. Will it see play, though? I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if this card's good enough to see play. If things were very aggressive, such as Hunter, with a bunch of 1 health minions, this card will see play very well. But the thing is, will it really synergize much with actual N'Zoth whenever you play N'Zoth? I don't think it will. So, in the N'Zoth deck, this card will probably not be played. In some other situations, maybe it'll be played in Patron Warrior or be played in the counter aggro decks as a mage. Maybe just very slow counter to aggro decks. I don't think it'll be played very often though. In Arena, this card will probably just be average. Or below average, probably. Because most 1-drops are 2-1s that trade for something. This one sort of is a, it's sort of like a 2-1. But if he doesn't play anything, you won't want to play another minion. Because of the fact that most people can do 1 damage, and if you play this Tentacle of N'Zoth and follow it up with a 3-2, it's basically like, if they can kill this Tentacle of N'Zoth, they can deal 1 damage to your 3-2, and they can kill it. So, I don't think it'll be, I think it'll be below average in Arena. Now we have N'Zoth himself, and now you can see why his tentacles are a thing, because whenever you play this card, if you played 2 tentacles, they get resummoned. Is that good? No, probably not, because if you kill 1 tentacle, it will kill the other tentacle, and it basically will hit every single minion you just summoned for 2 damage. It does also hurt the enemy's minions, but it also hurts yours. All your Deathrattle minions that you just summoned will be hurt for 2 if he's able to ping one of your tentacles. Which is why I don't think we played, because it's a 1-drop, which are much better Deathrattle minions in this game. Really, you want to play Cairn, you want to play that Zarl thing from Rogues, you want to play Sylvanas, you want to play all those amazing Deathrattle minions, and when you play N'Zoth, bam, you'll get it. You'll get it back. All that value. You will just basically instantly win the game at that point. Because, I mean, you have to kill everything twice. And you can't even play a minion because they have to Sylvanas up. They have Cairn, so you have to, like, kill 5 health, and then you have to kill 5 health again, on top of dealing... This card is going to be great. I think this will be... This could be a rogue-specific legendary. And that'll just be insane. I don't think it'll be played in many other decks, though. Maybe in, like, mid-range Paladin with Tyrion, or something of the such. But generally, this card's going to be played in Rogue. It's going to be great. It's going to summon that Zarl. It's going to summon back up, like, that 2-2 minion with half a Burgle. It's going to be great. It doesn't summon back the Unearthed Raptor, though. It only summons back Deathrattle minions on the card, not things that gain Deathrattle. Yeah, this card's great. It's a 5-mana... It's 10 mana 5/7, though. It's pretty bad, but, I mean, if they statted this thing any better, it'll just be completely broken. More broken than it probably already is. But 10 mana card, it needs to have a win condition. And I mean, that's one heck of a win condition, alright. So here we have Cthulhu himself. 10 mana 6/6. Battlecry, deal damage equal to this minion's attack, randomly split among all enemies. It looks pretty bad, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. 10 mana 6/6, deal 6 damage. It's basically an Avenging Wrath for 10 mana and a 6/6. But there's other things to it. It has minions that buff it, which I'll get to right now. Beckoner of Evil. Battlecry, give your Cthulhu +2/+2 wherever it is. It's great. I mean, if you take the stats just for what it is, it's a 2 mana 4/5. 2 mana 4/5, which is a Yeti. 2 mana. The only thing is that it's very slow because you don't actually get the effect right now. And it's a vanilla 2/3. Is that good enough? Probably. I mean, really, this is going to be control deck, relying on getting all your combos off before you get Cthulhu. Similar to anything can happen. You just want to play your Murlocs until you get the 10-drop, and then after you have all your Murlocs dead, you just play it. You hopefully kill your opponent, but if you don't, you play the second one, and then you definitely kill your opponent. It's going to be like this. You're going to get your Beckoner of Evils, you're going to get your other cards that synergize and buff Cthulhu, and then whenever your Cthulhu's like a 20/20 minion, you're going to play it, and you're going to win the game. Because, you know, hard removal is going to be gone. Probably. But if you're smart, you're going to keep your Polymorph, you're going to keep your Assassinate before Cthulhu drops down. But even then, I mean, dealing like 20 damage randomly will not only possibly clear your board, but if you don't have a board, you're probably going to die. Not to mention, you probably attritioned them down with some other things. In Rogue, however, if you somehow get this card back into your hand, it will retain its buffs. Like if you entomb it, if you do whatever, if you played these cards, no matter where you got your Cthulhu from, if you got an extra Cthulhu, it will have the buffs. These are retroactive depending on whether you have Cthulhu in your hand. But if your opponent doesn't play a Cthulhu deck and he entombs your Cthulhu, it will be a 6/6 for him because he never played any of these buff cards. So what people are thinking is that you play Cthulhu and then Shadow Step him immediately as a rogue, and then you play Cthulhu again, and then you Shadow Step him, and then you play Cthulhu again, and if he's somehow not dead from dealing 60 damage randomly, you will then play Stealth and then hit him for like 20 in the face. I mean, it seems pretty good, right? Rogues definitely need the love because rogues are never played and constructed anymore. It seems pretty good. Will it be played? It seems like probably not a full combo like I just said, but maybe like one Shadow Step would be played, and that would be definitely enough. Because I mean, yeah, it's pretty good. And these Beckoner of Evils and the other cards that synergize with Cthulhu are good on their own. Cthulhu will obviously be played, even if the deck is not played by like professional players. This deck will still be played because of the fact that whenever you tune in to the Hearthstone within the like expansion release time, some sort of time after that, if you're tuning in within that time period, you get Cthulhu and you get the Beckoner of Evils and other cards that synergize with the Cthulhu on your first pack, and you also get 3 free packs. So basically, you get Cthulhu deck right after tuning in for all those free-to-play people. And I would love to see Cthulhu, even if it's not played by competitive decks and it's played by complete noobs that just played the game. I would still love to see Cthulhu. But I do think Cthulhu will be played very competitively in most decks. A significant amount of decks, actually. We have Twilight Elder, which... it gives +1/+1 immediately, and if it survives, it gives another +1/+1. So it's like a Beckoner of Evil, but for 3 mana, 3/4. And then if it survives again, it gives another +1/+1, and then another one. So this card's going to be played in a Cthulhu deck, obviously, because there's only so many synergistic Cthulhu cards, and the stats are really good. Again, in a control deck, you just want to stall. If you are able to trade this card for their card, it's going to be good for you because of the fact that you're playing control deck and you slow down the game by trading. Will you really want to trade this card away after you get one buff? What you'll probably do is if he plays a card and you play this card, he plays a card that try to counter it, you'll probably hit face and then get another tick on the Cthulhu. Is what you'll probably do. And then you have to trade into it, otherwise your Cthulhu's get way too big. Yeah. This card is pretty good. Good stats. It'll be played. I just forgot a card. The Spawn of N'Zoth. This is also another synergistic card with N'Zoth because it's sort of in the name. It's a little tentacle-ling thing. It's officially the new cutest card in Hearthstone. And it's 3 mana 2/2. Deathrattle, give your minions +1/+1. So 3 mana 2/2. Deathrattle, Power of the Wild. Power of the Wild is 2 mana. So basically it's a 1 mana 2/2. Somewhere around there. In Arena, this card's going to be really good if you're playing an aggressive deck. Maybe the Spawn of N'Zoth will be played in a Zoo deck. Other than that, this card is really bad. Because they can just, it's sort of like a Nubusas Sentinel. They can just kill your other minions and then kill Spawn of N'Zoth as a 2/2. But if you say play like a Imp Gang boss, and you have like a Flame Imp or like a Void Walker out on the board, there's so many Zergy minions. Or maybe you'll play Dragon Egg, and then Spawn of N'Zoth will buff your Dragon Egg and a bunch of other things for +1/+1. I can see Egg Zoo being a thing with this card. Yeah, this card will never be played in an actual N'Zoth deck, probably, though. It depends on how good buffing all your Deathrattle minions for +1/+1 after playing N'Zoth will be. I can see some sort of combo now, but it's really, really bad combo. You play 2 Tentacles, you play 2 Spawn of the Zoths, and you play like Cairn and Sylvanas. And then whenever you get your things, when you play N'Zoth, you'll get N'Zoth buffed +2/+2, and then you get your Cairn and Sylvanas buffed +2/+2. Oh, actually just +2 really, because you take 2 damage from your Tentacles dying. And then your Spawn of the Zoth will die, your Tentacles will die, and then everything else will get buffed by 2 attack, because they already took 2 health damage. That won't be very good because of the fact that you could have basically 4 other Deathrattle minions on the board instead of these 4 combo-esque cards. But spawning those off will be played in the zoo deck probably, at least of a one of. So here is the last synergistic Cthulhu card. It's a 4-mana 4/2 Divine Shield, and Battlecry give your Cthulhu +2/+2. You can compare this to Argent Commander, which is a 6-mana 4/2 Divine Shield with Charge. So for 2 less mana, you do not have Charge anymore. And you have the same other things. I think that's really good. Like, look at this card. It's really bad against pinging, like this one attack at all. I mean, with rogues it's really bad, as Druid attacking into a 4-attack minion is really bad, but you'll probably have to do it. Mages will easily deal with this with a ping and maybe like a Frostbolt or something. But if they don't actually remove the Divine Shield, you just deal 4 damage, and you still have a 4/2. A 4/2 is like a 2.5 drop. Think of this as a 4-mana 2.5 drop Battlecry deal 4 damage against all people that can't deal 1 damage, or basically anything other than mage. That's really good. This might be the new piloted shredder for the Cthulhu decks. I mean, this card's so good. If this were just a generic card, 4-mana 4/2 Divine Shield, it'll probably still see play a bit. It can't be pinged after the shield's gone. So instead of like an Argent thing, 3/1, Scarlet Crusader, you can either decide to ping it first to remove the Divine Shield, or you can ping it after the Divine Shield is removed, because it's basically the same thing, because you're just removing 1 health. This thing, however, you have to ping it first, and if you don't, you can't ping it second, because it has 2 health. This forces them to basically play a 3-drop turn 5, or play a 2-drop turn 4 if you're going first, because they're going to have to ping this, or have to remove the Divine Shield in some sort of way. This card's great. You'll see play in basically all Cthulhu decks, and they'll be happy to do so because this card's great. And it's also a good thing to mention that all Cthulhu cards and synergistic Cthulhu cards will not see play in Arena. So I decided to keep this card last because of the fact that this card is really good counter against Cthulhu, and that's its really only purpose of being existed. It's a 7-mana Hogger. It's a Doom of Eldwin Hogger. It's a 7-mana 6/6 that summons a 2/2 whenever it takes damage. The reason this is good as Cthulhu, because of the fact that if you play this card on 7, and they were planning on playing Cthulhu, they can no longer play Cthulhu, because your 20/20 Cthulhu will deal 20 damage. But the thing is that this Hogger has 6 health, which means it can take 6 missiles itself, and for each of those 6 missiles, it will summon 6 2/2s, and each of those 2/2s have 2 health. So basically, this is a 7-mana, gain 18 life against Cthulhu. And the only, the missiles that will hit you in the face are 2 of them from Cthulhu. And hopefully you have like an Assassinate or something to deal with Cthulhu afterwards. This card will see play if Cthulhu is very, very, very popular. But it may not even be good at that point because of the fact that they will just remove your Hogger before they play Cthulhu. But ideally, you'll have to predict when your opponent has Cthulhu in his hand or not, or if he wants to play Cthulhu or not. And then you have to hope that he does not have any hard removal or bait out your hard removal. And then you play Hogger, and hopefully he won't have any way to deal with it. And then maybe he'll play Cthulhu into it at some point. That's the only time this card will be played. In Arena, this card will be very, very good though, because at the very, very least, it's a 7-mana 8/8 with partial taunt. And significantly more than that, probably. Think of Imp Gang Boss, but bigger version. And it gains taunt when it affects. Like the Imps have taunt. That's sort of what Hogger is. It's a really good legendary, because especially since Arena is very aggressive. Will you pick this, like, if you had Hogger Doom of Elwyn versus, like, the actual Hogger, will you pick this one? Probably, because of the fact that 4 health is very easy to do. And plus, your opponent will not be able to hit the 6/6 with his weapon, or ping it, or do anything. He'll have to have some sort of hard removal, or hope to have like some 6 attack minion already on the board, and then have some sort of 2 attack minion already on the board to clear it. It's really great. This card's going to be above average in Arena, I think. Okay, well, literally, the moment I completed the last card review, I refreshed the page, and there is a new legendary card. It's a 6 mana 5/5 Battlecry. Add 2 bananas to your hand. And by the way, this is Corrupted Mukla. And it's your hand this time, instead of being your opponent's hand. So basically, you pay 3 mana, and instead of giving your opponent 2 bananas, you give yourself 2 bananas. Is this pretty good? It's somewhat good. Maybe in a zoo deck will be played. Other than that, it probably won't be played because it's 6 mana 5/5. And you have to play 2 extra mana to get 2+2/+2. I'm not sure if this gives all of the bananas in the game, like the deal 1 damage, give +2/+2, big banana or whatnot. But if it even gives this the +1/+1 banana, I think this won't see play. If it gives the other bananas, maybe it'll see play. But you definitely don't want to get the reversal banana or the deal 1 damage banana. You really want to get the +2/+1, +2/+2 if that is the case. So that is all the cards. That's all the cards reviewed so far. It's like 34 or 35. I think it's 34. That's all of them. So I hope you enjoyed my little review. I feel like I reviewed them fairly. Everyone has their own views though. Tell me what you think of a specific card if I reviewed it wrong, and if I'm an idiot for reviewing it wrong. I am a big baka, of course. And thank you for watching, and goodbye.